Top of the table clash this weekend in La Liga. Barcelona host Atletico Madrid. And I'm looking forward to this game. Of course, a lot riding on it. Barcelona looking to extend their lead. They're both tied on points, but with that game in hand, this could prove crucial for Catalan. So let's talk some tactics. So Barcelona continued their unbeaten streak. 25 games it was up again until they played Bilbao during the week. And they continued that as they went on to win 3-1. So tactically, Barcelona is not going to be much different compared to how Luis Enrique's men do face up in most of their opponents. Atletico are a tough opponent. They have conceded the least goals in La Liga, by far one of the best defensive teams in Europe. 8 goals, I believe, from 21 games. They've only conceded 8 goals. So they're definitely a team that's harder to break down than most. But if one team can do it, you know it's Barcelona. So let's look at this lineup that I imagine Barca will be going with. According to reports, Jordi Alba is back, fresh-faced and fit to play in this game. So Bravo should be in goals. That back four of Alves, Piqué, Mascherano, and Alba. That midfield three, Rakitic, Busquets, and Iniesta, and of course, MSN up top. Now, I want to talk about a couple of things about Atletico Madrid in which I have noticed, and I want to reference Barcelona as to what I think they did very well, specifically in the first leg against Athletic Bilbao. So coming out against Atletico Madrid, what you're going to see is two main banks of four, right? So when you're going forward tactically, what Atletico are trying to do is they're going to try and neutralize this space in here, where Lionel Messi likes to do most of his work, tucks in. What usually happens is you'll get Neymar out wide, Suarez will take things in the point, and this is where they try to stretch this defense to create those gaps. What I've seen from Atletico Madrid, specifically against Las Palmas, is when you lure out one of the fullbacks, whether it's Juan Fran or Philip Luis, it creates a little bit of a gap in the structure. That is where they almost conceded, and that's where they did concede midweek against Celta Vigo. So what happens in this example is what Barcelona could do to utilize this is overwhelm those flanks, overwhelm the wide areas where Atletico are already going to be focusing a lot of their efforts, because when that back four is then sheltered with another front four midfield, it becomes a brick wall, which Diego Simeone loves to create, makes it very hard for teams like Barcelona to try and find those intricate gaps. But of course, Barcelona will find a way. But this is an easier way, I would say, to create those gaps. So what I would like to see from Barcelona with Alba coming back is what will happen is you'll get Neymar trying to get the ball out wide as quick as possible. Alba needs to make this sort of run to try and drag out that right midfielder, whoever it may be, for Atletico Madrid, make him aware of that run, and Barcelona do this very well. It's a decoy run. It's a standard tactical form of utilizing your wide men to create a gap in the midfield. What this does is it should then pose a question for whether Juan Fran or Philip Luis will now need to track this runner or check to the man. And Neymar then does what he does best, cuts inside. Before you know it, there starts to either he's going to form a gap in this area for an overlapping run, or for Suarez to check into, or for then Lionel Messi to find this gap in here. Because what it does, in order to break this system, you either have to take on a man or you have to flood an area and provide overwhelming numbers. That's what Barcelona will do. They're at home, big park, every plate of grass, Barcelona know inside out. That is something that they have done, and they utilize their ability to go wide. But also what I have seen recently, going back to that game against Bilbao, if you remember, 5 passes is all it took to get that first goal for Minia. 5 passes. That's coming from the right back area. So I'll talk you through what this means, especially against Atletico Madrid. So this is something that I felt Barcelona have adopted since Messi was both not playing until and when he came back and is present, is they utilize their ability to get direct passes into their best players in positions of space. So what I mean by that is, before, you used to see Barcelona continuously feed the ball into the midfield, then try and find Messi in this area, and often that would leave them susceptible to have areas crowded out, especially against teams like Atletico Madrid. But what will happen, and you'll see this more often with Barcelona, is they'll get the ball wide first, and it's simply direct passes. This example I reference is against Bilbao. You may remember it. Rakitic took it upon himself to make this run right in behind, and that was with Lionel Messi checking inside. And what this did is this basically caused the fullback to check into an area where he was unfamiliar. Rakitic made this run, the ball found its way to him, drove across, and Munir made this run in behind. And it was a beautiful, constructed, I would say, unique goal for Barcelona because of how quick they transitioned from defence into that position of danger. And it's something that they will have to do. They'll have to mix up those attacks against Atletico Madrid, because Atletico are going to be expecting the ball to get to Neymar and then for him to work his magic combining with Suarez and Messi. So those are a couple of tips I think Barcelona should do offensively, taking into account what Atletico those rare moments of weakness that they showcase. And I think that in doing so, they could find some success in behind. But let's take a look at the most, probably the best defensive team, I would say, in Europe at the moment, and how they can potentially frustrate and maybe go on to sneak a draw against one of the world's best teams. So, Atletico lining up. You're not going to see a different than 4-4-2 for Diego Simeone. He knows exactly what works for his team. Goes in with that standard bank of four, which then are protected by another bank of four that all work cohesively together. Very structured mechanical device is Atletico Madrid. All black in goals, Juan Fran Jimenez, Godin and Luis. A very strong back four. I would trust them with my kids, my house, my mortgage, everything. They know how to work together. Niguez, Fernandez, Gabi and Koke is who I imagine they'll start with in the midfield. And this new front partnership of Vieto and Griezmann, not so much new, but obviously preferred to Jackson Martinez up there. And I'll tell you why that is going to be one of the most dangerous things that Atletico can do. And Barcelona have to look out for this. So Diego Simeone has formed this partnership up top of Vieto and Griezmann, and it's subtly tearing defences apart. I think that Griezmann, out of the chances that he gets, he takes a fair amount of them, but I think that he needs to include Vieto a little bit more in order to get more goals up top. They won't be given a lot of chances against Barcelona, but with Alba coming back into the team, there could be an opportunity for Griezmann to expose that back line to space in behind. So what I see from Griezmann quite a lot, he'll peel out wide right. He'll almost be like a wide man, like a right midfielder. He'll peel into an area which will then distract someone like Jordi Alba to maybe pick him up, and you may be getting someone like Niguez to make this run in behind, similar to what I just mentioned with Barcelona. But what Griezmann does, which a lot of strikers don't do, is he starts in this position, and then he'll wander in this area, and he will work cohesively with his partner striker. Vieto comes into this area. They deliberately stay very close together. Often when it comes to a partnership, when you have maybe a little and large striker, like a big striker is going to hold the ball in, you want that little striker to work off of him and try and pick up the scraps or make that run in behind. But these two work very well together in order to create confusion between two centre-backs. Watch the game against Celta Vigo. Watch the game against Las Palmas. What Griezmann does is he waits until his strike partner checks into feet. And what he'll do is he'll deliberately make this run very close behind them, and that will cause a confusion between two centre-backs, whether they pick up this man in here. Good centre-backs will communicate and obviously have a little bit more stability and maybe sit one a little staggered back. But what happened against Las Palmas when Griezmann got those 2 goals and that 3-0 victory is what happens is they created confusion in here. 2 of the centre-backs didn't know who to mark. Griezmann is so quick that he made this run in behind, and you bet your bottom dollar that players like Fernandez and Gabi and Koke can find Griezmann in any specific area. He will do this specifically against Barcelona because he knows with Mascherano and Piqué, both of them are comfortable together, but when you start to kind of split them and make that run in behind, I don't think Mascherano is the quickest. He will anticipate this run. He'll drop a little bit deeper, but they're trying to create that confusion, trying to get those 2 centre-backs to maybe come a little closer together, try and maybe create some space in behind, whether or not Koke is going to move that run in behind or not. And that is what they're going to have to do to try and expose a very, I would say, small, but nonetheless potentially effective weakness in Barcelona's backline. There are a few points that I think could potentially be up for grabs in this game over the weekend. La Liga action at its best, top of the table clash. Looking forward to it. My prediction, I still think Barcelona will edge it. 2-1 victory for me. Let us know what you think in the comment section below. Come back to TYT Sports. Let me know what you think of my thoughts on Twitter at Francis_Maxwell. Come back again.